This week's topic comes from Jeff, who wanted to know how to embrace the awkward feelings of change, which means that, you guessed it, this week's topic is about the awkwardness of change. In the previous video, I talked about a time when I experienced change and it was hard. In this video, I'll talk about a time I was trying to change and I felt awkward. In the next video, I'm focusing on a time I embraced change. In the following video, we'll meditate, and in the last video, you'll see the Fridity or the Friday Ditty, where I bring it all together and I get a little more poetic or parable-ish and a little more nerdy to make sense of the journey. All the videos will appear in the playlist, The Awkwardness of Change. So, if you have a question like Jeff did, comment below or DM me on Instagram. I'm Angela, and this is me making sense of myself. The question I'm starting with today is, when was a time you were trying to change something and it felt awkward? This is actually, I think, kind of a funny story. I've been hanging out with Brian Fretwell over at Finding Good, and one of the big important things that we work on there is connecting, and how do you connect, and how do you do that with questions, and how do you structure the questions? What is it like? And so at church was asked if I would help teach the teenage classroom, and I went in and I worked so hard. I worked on structuring the question. I was worried about safety and trust and how do I build this? And I thought, okay, I've got a good question to start this conversation with these kids. And the question was like, at the end of the day, and I did not realize this going in, the question was super high risk. I think it was something to the effect of, like, when was it time in your life that you repented and it turned out good? And I was focusing on the good. What I did not think of was that some of the kids might go to the need to repent, right? And get stuck in the bad, which is actually really normal for the brain. But I was like, from the bottom of my heart, really like, okay, if I take these steps, if I do it just right, I'm going to connect with these kids. And, oh, Brian, he's so generous and loving, he kind of looked at me and went, yeah, that was rough, wasn't it? But it was learning. Like, if I hadn't had that experience with those kids, if I hadn't have taken the chance to try and build this question, to step into this awkward moment and just go for it with the best, to the best of my ability, because I did most of it on my own, and then I took it back after everything had happened and we talked about it, and then I don't know that I would have learned as much. I mean, now I know how important building safety and trust is in any conversation. And I don't think I do it perfectly all the time. And I'm willing to feel awkward and say that I'm making that mess. So it says, how did you cope with the awkward feeling of change? Okay, I think I just stepped into it. And I think also the awkward feeling of failing at it, right? I think that both of those were taking place. So coping with it, I think, was looking at it, let's see, and recognizing that it was a learning experience instead of a terrible failure. Like, that I was going to learn something and even it felt awkward to step out of that and recognize that, ooh, I thought I had this down, but I really don't, and I could actually use some more practice. So I worked on that a lot. So it says, the question is, what did you notice in the people around you as you embraced the awkward feeling of change? Well, so I continued because I wanted to get better at making connections and really reaching out and making, when I talk about connections, I'm talking about connecting with the people in my home, connecting with the people in my community, and just everyone that I interact with, to really genuinely connect with them. And so what I started to notice after that experience was that I wasn't as afraid to fail at making that change and at being awkward at trying to connect. And I think the other thing that I found is that the people around me that knew what I was attempting to do, and I probably could have told the kids that, but I didn't, they were celebrating that I was taking those chances to make the world a better place, to make my world a better place, to really connect with the people around me in a loving way. So what signs will I look for when I start to feel awkward? I don't know. What signs do you look for when you start to feel awkward? Let's see. I think that I will start to, that awkwardness will be a signpost that I'm learning something and that I am in the midst of change, so that then I don't necessarily need to beat myself up. You know, a lot of times when I would make a mistake or try something new in the past, I thought I had to have the answer. You know, I grew up in, I think I said in the other video, in a performative world, at least for me, where it was like you had to have the right answer on the test. You had to have the right answer in, I don't know, a conversation. If I had questions and I hadn't thought of one thing, then it was like, well, why didn't you think of that? And so I started to have shame and frustration around that. And so I think that I will recognize that I'm in the arena, that I am taking those risks and I am doing something because I'm willing to learn. And wouldn't I rather be there than, I don't know, just sitting on the couch staring at the what I call the big black box? I don't know. Sometimes I think I need to stare at the big black box, but other times I think embracing the awkwardness of change is okay with me. So I would love to hear from you. When have you embraced the awkward feeling that comes with change? These videos will be located in the playlist, The Awkwardness of Change. I'm Angela, and this is me making sense of myself.